Liberia, wherever you are, at all of the agencies, the ministries, as well as commissions of government. This is the show that it is your show. It comes to you every Monday, and you are to take part in it. I mean, through a number that we will call next in a few minutes. We'll call the number, announce the number to you so that you can be a part of this show. Today, we will be discussing from the standing orders of the civil service. That is the standing orders as we have the organic law of the state, that is the constitution of the state. We also have the standing orders. It is those regulations. It's a compilation of regulations that is there to guide us through as we go through our process or our workings as civil servants. So it is always good. The reason why we thought to lay more emphasis on it because time in, time out with the Director General Honorable Thompson has called on the head of institutions and HRs to bring the standing orders tool to the doorsteps of all civil servants, because once you are a civil servant and you are cognizant of the workings, the do's and don'ts, I mean, it guides you through and it makes you to be very, very law abounding. But if you don't, then sometimes you get carried away and other things could happen to you, because the responsibility of the civil service agency is not just to recruit Liberians who are qualified to promote them as well as but is that to protect Liberians. So it is always good that we bring these things up to you. I should have been here with the principal administrative officer who will give, that is a PA, or who should have given us more in-depth information on some of the workings of civil servants. Today he wouldn't come because of another important engagement. So I thought to come. I'm here all by myself to give you some. So, folks, this is the civil service hour. We will read out the number to you. This time around, we have more time for phone in because sometimes price we had limited time, so people were calling in and we didn't have much time. So we want to give you more time this time around. So we're going to talk on the standing order. So what after we talk a little bit the introductory part of the standing order, then we delve into attendance. Attendance is very important because sometimes people feel that, hey, government job, you don't need to go. Our attitude of our approach to job and is different when we are in the private sector, and it's also different when we are working for government. So we thought this in this edition to give some highlights on attendance as civil servants, why important attendance is. So in this book we say this manual has been prepared with the objective of ensuring that all civil servants have the fullest responsible or fullest possible understanding of the regulations which apply throughout all agencies of government. I mean, the civil service agency, these are the civil standing order is, as I stated, the compilation of rules and regulations, knowing the do's and don'ts, so that it enables you to be a law-abiding and dutiful, civil servants. Because going out of days when people thought that civil servants, I mean, nobody can sack you. No, yeah. If you go against the civil standing orders, they can. So it can have an effect on you. So we thought to lay emphasis on these things because time and time out, people take these things and just put it in the that is to put it on the shelf or on the decks and don't go through them. So we thought to highlight on that. The show is there to inform us as civil servants or Liberians to know more about civil service agency and civil service in general. So we say this standing order is to give you an idea of what to do and what not to do. So the civil service agency, we'll just go through it briefly before we go to attendance, which is our cardinal topic for today. So we want to say the civil service agency, which was established in 1973 by an act of legislation, is responsible to ensuring that a merit-oriented system throughout the civil service. It also ensures that civil servants' rights are properly protected and that uniformly high standards of personnel administration are practiced in every government agency. In essence, it means that not only is it there to recruit, but to protect them and on a merit based system. Before, if you know that to become a civil servant, obviously you must be 17 and above, a Liberian 17 and above, and then you must have gone through the civil service test, right? You have to go through the civil service test. But if you have some, let's say maybe you have a master's degree or a very, needed professional qualification, the director general can exempt you from taking the written test. However, there are other rudiments that you also have to go through. That is the interviews and a lot more you got to go through. So it's not only about taking tests, but you have to go through all of those rudiments, examinations, other things, interviews, and so many things, so that you can be qualified. This is why you want to have, because the vision or the mission of the civil service agency to have a very qualified public service, or to say civil service. Once you are a civil servant, it is only obvious that you have to be a qualified personnel. So or personality or Liberian. And so you have to go through the merit-based system. So that's exactly what. So we're talking section 2 of the standing orders, say the role of the civil service agency. It is the civil service, the CSA's responsibility to ensure that all vacancies in a classified civil service are filled by officers who are properly qualified. I just said that. And whenever vacancies occur, head of agencies must notify the CSA, giving full details and indicating whether the position is to be temporary or permanent. I mean, all of those steps before you carry out any recruitment, as the agency that is responsible to carry out general recruitment, placement, and other things, you must, the head of institution or head of ministry or the minister, they have to inform the civil service agency. This is the book. It's written here, and we have to abide by it. Thankfully, this time around, we are going through all of those things, right? Today, our focus will be on, we're going to look at attendance, right? We want to look at why we want to focus on attendance. We think attendance is very important because the job, once there's something in procurement they call value for money. And once you are a civil servant, it is obvious that you have to go to job, come to job regularly, so that you won't be, just be interested in at the end of the month, say, oh, I mean, something I drop, in our little, we will make the show a little bit simple so that our people down there too will understand. Because if you are working, your only interest is to know that something is something I drop, then I mean, my boss, Honorable Thompson, always said that let your impact define you more than your position. It is not, I'm director for communication at the Civil Service Agency. It's not what makes you. What should make you is that even while you are there, the impact you are making. I mean, it plays a whole role. It's so cardinal important as compared more than even just parading around with this position. Because sometimes you go somewhere, they ask you, it's not about writing on the CV, what was the position? You say a director for communications, but they say, what did you do there? Those are things people are interested in. So it's always good that wherever you are, in whatever level of assignment, it is only good for you to show, make an impact, a positive impact, so that it lives after you. Whether you are there and you leave from that, somebody will say, oh, when Swen was here, this is what happened, and this is what he's done. So we thought it is good to say that. So attendance, we want to focus on chapter 5 of the standing orders. So we'll highlight briefly on attendance, so that we know exactly what it is. So we say section 1 in attendance, we talk about, I would say 5.1.1, employees of the civil service are normally required to work 5 days per week. We know that 5 days a week, and we know that it is from Monday to Friday. So say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, work 5 days a week. And from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Okay, this is the standardized one from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. However, there are certain institutions who could decide that, hey, based on recommendations and suggestions from their staff, they are going from 9 a.m. to 5. So you should know that it got to be 8 hours, right? So it has to be 8 hours. So once you start from 8 a.m., it has to be 8 hours. But if you decide, because of some people, well, give excuse and say, oh, sometimes the job where we live and before we come to town, then the time. So some bosses are so flexible to say, hey, from 9 a.m. now to 5. So you now push it to 5. So it stays within the same, or let's say, purview of, let's say, 8 hours. So they will say, subject to approval of the supervisor. Exactly. So we say a period of 1 hour is allowed for lunch. So you have 1 hour for lunch. Don't go for lunch and spend 3 hours there and say that government job. We try to make these things, and my boss asks us to lay emphasis on this thing because we realize some people take these things so lightly, but it's important. Firstly, you must be at job. As civil servant, you must be at job regularly, and the time you go to work. So, if your institution, by virtue of the boss and the agreement, says that you have to go to work 9 to 5 or 8 to 4, you have to be within that time. The too much excuse, the too many excuse. Oh, I didn't get water to table. Who care? Who should we? So it's a period of 1 hour is for lunch, is allowed for lunch. No employee is permitted to leave his place of work without the knowledge of his supervisor. Some of us feel that, hey, you wake up, you just want to go and leave the office, leave your job and go out without. But yet the standing order says no employee or staff should leave his place of assignment or job without the knowledge or the authority of his supervisor. That is your immediate boss. If you in a communication, if the other is leaving the office, obviously she must inform me as her boss and say, oh, Mr. Swen, I'm leaving, I'm going this place. And again, it's not just saying it, but I should see genuine reason to grant her the excuse to say, okay, you can go. Now, Section 5, chapter, on the same chapter, within the same chapter 5, we say section 1.2, attendance report. The reason why we try to lay emphasis on this thing is that in time past, maybe people didn't take attendance report to be so serious. But this time around, we are. The Director General is laying more emphasis on attendance. So we say all agency heads shall maintain attendance reports and shall submit a report to the agency at monthly. When you talk about agency in this context, you have to submit attendance report. MI is ongoing. They send attendance report to the office of the Director General. This time around, he himself is always on there. They send attendance report to the office of the Director General at monthly intervals on the approval. That is approved. We have a system right now. We have a system now where it's rolling out. There was an introduction of it, and now it's rolling out. But before then, we still have that form. You must send it because sometimes when you see this, say, "Oh, they cut my pay," or the lower man, because maybe you are not taking into consideration that you are missing, you're not coming to job on time, or you're not coming to job at all. And you say, "Oh," and they say 14 days. Maybe you just came 10 days, maybe after you got absent for 10 days, and you know that you're at prison 14 days, then you start to come. Some people play that game, they think that government job, so they don't care. But this time around, thankfully, we have a system now that cares for the taxpayer money. If you're going to receive your salary, you have to work for it. And the only way you can work for it too, if you are in attendance. So yes, they say all agency heads should maintain attendance report. We have said it over and over in the HR chat rooms the Director General continues to lay emphasis on that, and that we have to be, yeah, people got to be, take responsibility of job they do, take ownership of job they do. The same man or same woman who is a little bit laying back and not being so regular at the job when they're working with public in the public sector, send it to private sector, and they say 7 o'clock they will be there by 6:30. That's how we are. And if we want this country to be illustrious, we have to take our various jobs seriously. Whether in the private sector, whether in the public sector, you have to take our jobs seriously. And one of the component of being serious on a job is your timeliness, your attendance at jobs. Then people know you're serious. Now, talk about the lateness. So we're going to lay a little emphasis on lateness. Okay, for the attendance report, you have to send it before the 10th. Mind you, now, the processing of payroll by the 10th. It starts from the 10th, and, it goes there about. So, when you send this report, the Director General, and he's so energetic, he goes through it meticulously. He follows every agency. Can you imagine how 1 or 3 agencies of government, the spending entities of government, and he goes from one agency to another, because we just sometimes, we as humans, we're not sincere. You see, how can you submit in time past? So now he queries, then he said, how can you submit a monthly or attendance report and nobody is absent? How possible? In as much as it is a good thing to see that nobody is absent, but it's difficult to believe that the whole institution for 3-4 months, nobody is absent. It tells you that attendance report has been compromised. That attendance report has been compromised. So he said, but are you sure? Because sometimes we do that. You see, one HR decides to, just because maybe I don't want bad news before they say, I don't want maybe people to be asked in the court, so they would mark everybody out present. And in fact, nobody even sick. Can you imagine out of place? I think some of the wonders of the world, So I just saying report. Well, in as much as it is good, what the context in which he spoke, or he raises or concerns, is that let's be genuine when it comes to that. Let's be frank. Let's be natural. We know that you see 1 or 2, then you see 1 or 2 persons, but for you to send whole month listing or attendance report and say the person, nobody is absent, then the next month nobody is absent. What? It's too good to believe. Very too good to believe. Now that comes to lateness. An employee who fails to provide an adequate excuse for late arrival at his place of work will, on the 3rd occasion he is late, he or she is late, receive a written warning. For 4 occurrences of lateness will result in the loss of 1 day's pay. I want people to understand these things, because when you read, that's what we continue to say, read the standing orders, and you will be condescending, you will be abreast with what is happening around you. It's almost like you're a Liberian when you say, I have not read the Constitution. You have to keep reading it, let it be part of you, so you know your do's and don'ts. So you wake up, you say, the standing order says, when you are late, you must provide to your supervisor the reason why you are late. And on the 3rd occasion of that lateness, you'll be warned. And if it continues for 4 occurrences, that lateness is equivalent to a loss of day. That is, they will subtract 1 day of your salary. And sometimes you can say, oh, this month I got this month I got that, but they will not give you the reason why they are experiencing that loss. This day I got this day, or either they cut my money, but you have not been regular, or you're not regular in terms of, you've been late. So just try to give you the idea, so you know some of these things that I can create the reason why sometimes they cut. So again, 4 times without, and that's the emphasis on it. People can have genuine reasons why they are late, but again, you must inform your supervisors. Some of you, your guys supervisors, so don't want to respect your supervisors. I think that, oh, because I know somebody higher than the supervisor, so the supervisor I can. Your supervisor, like your boss. You don't respect your supervisors, but then when it comes to recommendation, you expect the supervisor to recommend you. I mean, these are working attitudes that we have to, we have to observe and throw some lights on. So you must inform your supervisor. But again, when you continue to be late, and those kind of excuses should not, because the supervisor is going to look in the magnitude of your excuse. If you continue to say, "Oh, around our place, no water there," that was another excuse. You know what? Because we get a whole lot of flimsy excuses when it comes to a job. If there's same time, we're going to tell you, say tomorrow we're going to get a visa, they're not going to talk about water business. But the kind of job we have, we made a whole lot of excuses. Oh, our coming, we try to we put some of the humor in about it's serious. The boss asks us to discuss on attendance. So, folks, this is the Civil Service Hour here on ELBC. It comes out every Monday, and it's been programmed by the Civil Service Agency. It brings you up to speed on matters relative to the well-being and welfare of civil servants across the length and breadth of this nation. And it's been produced by the Communications and the Public Relations Unit of the Civil Service Hour. Today, our focus is on attendance, Chapter 5 of the standing orders of the civil service, the civil service. So we'll continue to say that we're opening the lines for you to make your input. Let me just go through it. So many times we have not allowed you to call more onto that. So whatever your concerns are, we open the lines for you to get. So we'll talk about lateness. Now we'll come to illness. An employee who is prevented by illness from attending his place of work for more than 2 days shall, unless instructed otherwise by his or her supervisor, ensure that he obtain a medical certificate signed by the recognized medical practitioner. Yeah, illness. I mean, naturally, we are all here. We can get ill at any time. But you must, for 2 days, if you haven't come to work, and maybe send an excuse. Obviously, you must send an excuse, text it. If you think you are on the point that you can't send message or write an excuse, you can ask somebody to send a message. Fine. But your supervisor, your direct supervisor, should be informed. In fact, he will in turn or subsequently take it to the HR so that they know that to have a report on you. So you must, for 2 days, you must come a rating of medical signed medical, recognized medical report. I mean, somebody will argue and say, why if I went in the bush, the sick bush? I mean, yeah, we can agree, but you must be some evidence too now. Victoria, I know you were saying the sick bush, you can give medical report or receiving other things. But give us some, so maybe you went in the sick bush. When you went in the sick bush, maybe they're holding your phone, right? Yeah, we all guess off. So show some evidence. You will not just leave it flat because you say sick bush. Take picture the same way you can take picture and send it somewhere and say, oh, I sick. Send a picture that I see evidence on that. Right? So again, we say illness. An employee who is prevented by illness from attending his place or her place of work for more than 2 days shall, unless or instructed by otherwise, a supervisor ensure that he obtain a medical signed by a recognized medical practitioner. The certificate shall be delivered to his supervisor immediately on his return to work or within 48 hours of beginning of his absence from work, whichever is sooner. So now when you don't come, they allow you to come. When you come back, when should I return to job? Then what happens? You must report or present that excuse in form of the signed medical or certificate. I mean, just to give you, because you can stop the person from going there. Now, honor illness. If you fail to do all of what we've just talked about, you will lose an equivalent pay for each day absent. You see why is that? If you fail to present a written excuse, a written certificate in terms of illness and other things to present it to your supervisor, we should only go to the HR. You will have to, you will lose equivalent pay for each day absent. You imagine. So you were absent for 1 week without providing all of these things. 1 week every day, 5 days. So you will lose the pay for it. Or you could, because we are all entitled to annual leave. It's good to go on leave. We are all entitled to annual leave. If some consideration is anyway, since we're not, some of the supervisors, head of institutions can be so considerate looking at the magnitude of the case. They say, okay, yeah, you didn't provide it, but when it comes to your annual leave, we have to call it short. Any responsive government is good at doing that. Should do that. You will call it short. So since, okay, we're not cut your salary because of your failure to provide the evidence that is required, we have to cut it from your leave of absence. We'll cut it from your leave the day you want to go. Then we got attendance on training programs. Obviously, when you want to go on training programs, they also got to be excused or authorized by the head of institution for your director or your supervisor first. Then it goes to the. It's always good to the process that start with your supervisor. Don't leave your supervisor. Then you go to the head because you have some close relationship with the head of institution or the ministry, and just go strictly to him. And I'm only sure that the head of ministry, the head of institution, will send you right back to your dad. Because some of us, because of our proximity to the power that be or the head of institution, we overlook our immediate supervisors and we just go ahead thinking that that's the right thing to do. So no, everything the step start from your supervisor. My boss always made emphasis on those things. They say start from your supervisor, then it claims. The same way when the supervisor too has his own situation that he needs, he has his immediate boss, and how it goes, that working environment, how it goes, the chain of command. I respect it. It's not about who you know, who you don't know. Right. So, folks, today we're talking about attendance. The number to call if you want to join in the conversation, we say 0880514096, 0880514096. We're talking about the standing orders, and specifically we're talking about attendance, how people should take attendance very seriously, because once taxpayers being paid by taxpayers, obviously you must do the people's job. Just as when you are in the private sector, you are very on time at jobs and whatever assignment they give you. So when it comes to public service, because sometimes those who even don't go to work so often are the people who complain, and you're waiting, the phone can go off because of that. But when it comes to doing the job, so this is it. Hello, we have someone on the line. Hello, your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, hello, I'm Jerome Carter. I'm calling from the border of 72nd.
Okay, you say your name again?
Jerome Carlo.
Okay, Jerome Carlo. Tell us your concern, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. I just listened to what you said, and it makes sense, and also help the country, because when you're working as a civil servant, you need to show passion for the job, because government is paying you.
Definitely.
Yeah. So in so doing too, you see, the work is that the always say the fish can get like from the head. I don't know whether you people can take attendance of the representative or the senator or whoever director, whether they will in the lecture. Because most of the director, representatives, senator, whatever government officials, they cannot go to work on time. So those things, you don't expect the honor man to go to work on time. Most of the time, people go to work late. They go to work as they feel they're going to work. You see that?
Yeah,
they feel that any hour to go to work, nobody will ask them questions.
Okay.
And when you go into work after the hour, what you expect the honor man to do? You get your bosses. They're not going to work on time. You're not supposed to be allowed. Let be fair working by the country.
Okay. Thank your point. Your point. So your point well taken. I think we've taken your into consideration that point very much. So again, hello. So we alternative we have 0775 916 0775 910 or 6033. That is 0775 9160 33. So it's an alternative line for you to call. Again, with the main line 0880 So we are discussing attendance, how attendance is important, and how civil servants should be on time at jobs and to take their attendance very seriously. So that's why we're discussing today strictly from the standing orders of the civil service, because sometimes people feel that, oh, the government job. But Carlos, you make a very good point. I mean, in as much that the head of institutions will call on your civil servants to. Hello? So as much as civil servants will call on the head of institutions are calling on the subordinates, that is those at the lower level, to be on time. They themselves got to show example of being on time, because you can have a boss. You can say you're a boss. Then when it comes to going to job, you go to job around 11, or you go to job. I mean, but there are bosses too who go for meetings now instead of just from the house. Sometimes they have to go for cabinet meeting, or like ministers and other director generals, or to go to some other function. We're not talking about that, but to make it your habit of not going to job on time and then demanding your staff to go to job on time. I mean, it's a complete disservice there. So Carlos, you make a very salient point, and I think our bosses and those responsible will take heed to that. So we say this, the number to call 0805140996 or 0775 9160 33 9160 33 0775 9160 33 is an alternative number to call. So we are discussing from the civil service, that is the standing order. The standing order is those regulations that guide us as civil servants, so that we will continue to know our do's and don'ts. Again, we're talking about attendance. Again, we say attendance because it is required now. Hello, your name, where you calling from? Hello, your name, where you calling from?
Hello.
Yeah, sorry, you want to move around your monitor. If not, you can. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
You getting me now?
Yeah, I'm getting you.
Okay, I'm Daniel Jensen calling from number 7.
Okay, Daniel Jersey. Okay, your concern, sir. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, my concern is that the people, our bosses that will have the problem. Because when you tell the child, say, don't do this, if or you, the parent, you're not trained to see what you expect the child to do. Our people just think that Liberia only for them, that when they're ready, they just go to work at any time. I'm going to say, if I see it do as the same way, so if I all in the morning by 8 o'clock, they wake up to be the job, I don't think the other man will be doing the same thing. But if the other man go to job and then be there on their 12 maybe NC apartment, and that's the way you expect that man to do.
Okay, Dana, you make a point, but I think what needs to be done is that tomorrow you will become a boss, right? And you want for your staff to come to work. So because everybody is doing it doesn't make it right. What we say is that, so you should show the difference, right? You should show the difference and say, look, maybe one day you'll have a meeting, I know, respectfully, and say, but boss, every time we come to work. But sometimes people have conscience, right? So I think it is, you make a good point, because as head, you must.
But sometimes calling the boss again, it will also bring threat to your work, because maybe the boss will just feel that sometimes too, if you continue to just point to giving that advice, you will say, but then man, if I don't try to get out of this place, meaning being that you will even try to put me out or to get my own appointment as well. So that business just hard to see.
No, it not hard. So we can all make the difference wherever we find ourselves, whatever position. But what I can say is that let's keep doing the right thing. It's not because the next person is doing the wrong thing, so we can all do it. So let's keep doing the right thing. One day, with those who doing the wrong thing, they will follow suit and will do the right thing. Thank you, Daniel, for calling. It's a good point. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, your name and where you calling from?
I'm James Moluko from Bapolu County, to be precise, Bapolu City.
Thank you so much, Mr. Molu, for calling from Bapolu. What's your concern, sir?
Okay, and one of the civil servants who work with MOH Bapolu County.
MOH, okay.
Okay, and then you are talking about deduction of salary.
Oh, that only one you hear. Wow, how the deduction? How we came to the deduction of salary? That year ago now.
Okay.
Yeah.
On your information.
Yeah.
But then we have paid you to come to work on the job site.
Yeah.
Okay, but this day, your money will be sent from the final ministry to the bank in which you are doing business with.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, and then sometimes when you go to the bank, when the message comes to you, sometimes some month you will see 122, some month you will see 127, and some month you will see 128.
Okay.
Where the profit coming from?
Okay. So I want to say.
Hello?
Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
Yes.
Let me load fast now. Others are on the line.
You work on is he or she is the one who sending your report at the final ministry that they may don't come to job 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, 1 month, you don't come to job. Is that the area where the problem coming from?
Okay, so what we say. So okay, thank you for calling and following the show. Just keep listening. So what we say is that attendance is important, right? Because in the public sector, we have the mindset that once you're in the public sector, that government job, so you can go anytime. This time around, no, because you are being paid by taxpayers, right? And you have to do a particular job. So that take, for instance, if you are assigned in the hospital and you needed to be there to provide your services to a patient, but you just decide not to come to work, you should that nobody should bother you on that. I mean, it's just not fair, right? It's just not fair. So what we say is that the honor this administration, the Director General is saying, in fact, he has encouraged people to always send the attendance is important. So you send it to him because we advise on that. The HR is that it is not the making of the institution or to call people thing. But if you are not regular, then sometimes the problem is that. So I just keep following the show. Let's take other calls. I wait, great. Hello, and where are you calling from? Hello? Hello. Your name and where are you calling from?
My name is William, calling from my country,
Okay, your concern, please.
Okay, I want to appreciate you a lot for the show on the program today.
Thank you.
For typical example, if I have been transferred in the community, whether in children's school I'm speaking of.
Okay.
Okay, the community has refused to lodge me and I have a distance.
Okay.
I have to have been given to my supervisor. And he refused himself to come in for intervention.
Okay.
Okay, and in that movement, I need to be in school in time.
Okay.
And if I come to school late and the community more than 2 or 3 years have refused to lodge me, then what would be the way forward?
Okay, that's a good point there. Very good point. So what we could say that when you are sending this excuse or complaint to your boss, I always ask people, because maybe I'm an administrator as well, you have to write it down so that you don't just go and kind of say, Chief, you know the place foul, you don't want horse meal, right? But why is it? If it is a requirement, obviously they need to do it to have a place or a residence for you. But if it's not a requirement and you saw all of those things before you went there, you took the job, then it's another thing. But what we're saying is that just keep going to the way you approach issue, go to your chief and say, this is the reason, and have it jotted down and say, I'm coming to work late because maybe I'll live 2 hours away from where I work, right? And I have to come to work, and maybe so that it allows me to be late. So when you have this thing recorded, then if he's not doing anything, your immediate boss is not doing anything, then you can respectfully, and I'm using the word respectfully, take it to another level. And you understand? Because I'm using the word respectfully so it doesn't look like you're going to complain your boss, right? So you could send a communication to him, then you can say, Chief, it seems that maybe you don't have grip on this thing. I'm sending a communication to the next level because this is impeding my presence, my timeliness on job, right? So I mean, gradually it will work out. I want to believe it will work out a day. But you make a good point, and I think those in authority are listening, and they will have a remedy on that. Thank you
It's
for
very
following.
serious. It's very serious.
Yeah,
That's
thank
really
you.
for service.
Thank you. Let me okay. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, hello, your name and where you calling from?
My name is Johanna Oner. I'm calling from District 1, Motoraro.
Okay, your concern, please.
Yeah, my concerns have to do with the working hour within a week.
Okay.
I'm working at an institution where I work from 7 to 7.
And which institution? Is it in the public sector? Is it in government?
The government sector.
Okay.
Yeah, what can you talk to me about that?
Or you say the government sector, you're working from 7 to 7.
Agency 7 to 7.
Okay. 7 to,
Security department. When is the security department?
okay, security department. I think you know the nature of your job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, let's look at it holistically. Yeah, I mean, your job requires you, maybe you get first shift, you get second shift and third shift, right? So
There are 2 shifts.
okay, 2 shift jobs. You got 2 shifts. So and how it works. So for the security area, there's a little bit of flexibility when it comes to that. But I think you make a point. We'll look into that matter and take it to those concerned. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for following the show. Okay. Folks, this is the Civil Service Hour. Your ELBC is the program that comes every Monday and is programmed by the Civil Service Agency. It speaks about issues concerning civil servants in the civil service. Today we are discussing attendance, chapter 5 of the standing orders. The standing order of the civil service is that documentation or that the compilation of rules and regulations that govern civil servants so that you know your do's and don'ts. Okay, so we are taking. Hello, your name and where you calling from? Hello? Hello, your name and where you calling from?
This is Peter Doe calling from Grand Crew.
Peter Doe, you're from Grand Crew. Your concern, please. Welcome to.
This is Peter Doe calling from Grand Crew, sir.
Yes, sir. Your concern, please. You are on the Civil Service Hour.
Okay, my concern is that what happens? Yeah, yes. What happens that if you pay this month and you got $100 US, then the next month then you get $80 US. What can be the cause?
Because that is the fluctuation in your salary, right?
Yes.
I think the people
fluctuation in salary payment.
yeah, but I think there's nobody now, by virtue of the president proclamation, there's nobody who is getting less than 150. So I want to be, so when you call it making an example too, and you make it $80, it almost looks like what somebody getting. But here's the point. So sometimes the rate, I wouldn't speak. I don't have an in-depth knowledge when it comes to that because I don't want to give you any false information. But I just want you to keep following the show. I'm jotting down these points because I don't want to give you a response when it comes to why the deduction or the reduction in that, right? So that we don't worry. So, but next Monday I will give you an information on that. Right from here, I'm going to call those in authority, and they were going to give me an answer to that. So normally what we do here is questions that we have not much answer to, we jot them down and we take it to the authority, and they give us a response. So when they are more, we invite them to the show so they can make the explanation from their own, But for now, I will just take your concern. It's important, and then I will take it back to those there so that will give us the rightful answer. Yeah, that money business, I won't give you any information that may not be true. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You are welcome.
It's very painful. It's very painful.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get to that. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Folks, this is the civil service hour. We are running out of time, and we were discussing attendance. Today, my boss thought it was necessary that we lay emphasis on attendance, because sometimes, I mean, people are just dragged by, especially right now. People, you ask them about, oh, election time. Why do you say election time? Then you don't want to come to work, but you don't when you at the end of the month, you're still looking for your alarm to ring, but you don't say, "Oh, the election time, so let the government relax. They will not pay me." You understand what we do? But then we want this country to be that's powerful and illustrious, and but then we continue. So our work attitude, when the reason why we decided to talk more about attendance, and those who crafted the civil service order, that's the civil service orders, they didn't do wrong to put. They were so thoughtful to put attendance there, because if somebody has to be serious at job, the first thing they must get the attitude of going to work. They must have the attitude of going to work on time. So we thought it was important that we spoke. Thank you, folks, for joining the conversation through your listening role, well, as well as the calls. I mean, some calls we answered, some questions we answered, some we didn't, and we jotted them down, especially from a man in Grand Crew County who talked about some fluctuation of salary, the pay. We were taking it to the division that is responsible, and then they will come next morning. This program is every Monday. And we want to say again, the Director General wants to say to add his voice to all of those who are calling for very peaceful elections as we go to the runoff on the 14th of this month. He prays, he's calling on all civil servants to remain peaceful as we were peaceful during the general elections. And we pray that we all remain very, very peaceful and go through the process, because it is only peace that we need to have the country sustained, develop as it is on the right trajectory. We want to say, this is the civil service. Thank you for your listening role. Thank you for your phone call. I'm your presenter, Joseph Ernest Swen, Director of Communications and Public Relations at the Civil Service Agency. I've been accompanied by Deodah